Now, a lot of people in Sibley County, they woke up to this alert. We'll show you on your screen right now that they located what they believe to be the shooter's vehicle near Highway 25. They're telling people still in Sibley County, stay in your homes with your doors locked, keep your cars secured so that he cannot use any of these places to hide. And that, of course, they want anyone to report any suspicious activity to 911. They did let the community know that they would be going door to door, and we saw some video of that earlier, our new drone video of officers approaching various properties to question the people inside and make sure they're okay, and search the properties and make sure that he's not trying to seek refuge in any of them. Our Joe McCoy has been live in Sibley County near the scene of where they found that vehicle for hours already this morning. Joe, what are you seeing right now?
Julie, we are still seeing that incredibly large police presence here along Highway 25, where that car was found, where that cowboy hat was found, where there's also a property down there. Now, I do think one thing that has been interesting, Julie, and you and Lou were talking so eloquently about how he could have potentially gotten away from Senator or Representative Hortman's home in the middle of the night after he and law enforcement exchanged, allegedly exchanged some gunfire. I also think there's a large question of how he then escaped from the home and then got to Minneapolis, and then seemingly got from Minneapolis to out here in Green Isle. That car that law enforcement is saying is the suspect's vehicle. We do not know if that car is registered to the suspect, but he did come out here and then leave that vehicle right off the side of the road here on Highway 25. And then also there was that cowboy hat that we have not had it confirmed if that is Vance Belcher's cowboy hat, but it does look remarkably similar to the one that he was wearing in that photo that was captured by security cameras. So that car and that cowboy hat have been here the entire morning. When my photographer and I arrived on scene here around 8:45, we do not know, however, how long that car and that cowboy hat have been here for. We do not know if that car that law enforcement is saying was or not was his car, because we don't know if it's exactly Belcher's car, but a car that he was driving. We do not know when he got out of that car and ditched it on the side of the road. And if that is his cowboy hat, we do not know when that cowboy hat was then put on the side of the road. So still lots of questions, Julie, as this scene behind us continues to develop, and the law enforcement presence has only ratcheted up this afternoon, Julie. We have seen multiple canine units, we have seen multiple SWAT units arrive on scene, numerous agencies, too much that I can even list, have arrived on scene here. So it's just been continuing to develop throughout the afternoon. And I would say the latest development, Julie, is what you and Lou have already discussed about those tactical teams and law enforcement going from home to home in the area, searching properties. So that emergency alert that was placed and that we all received on our phone around 10:45, we have not received an alert to say that emergency alert is no longer in effect. So we have to assume that emergency alert is still in effect, where law enforcement is telling people, to stay in their homes, make sure their doors are locked, and all things of that nature. And that is as law enforcement is going home to home out here in Green Isle, searching properties for what we would believe would be Vance Belcher. I want to be very clear, we do not know if Vance Belcher is down this road here on Highway 25, where there's very large police presence. We do not know what authorities are exactly looking for. We can just report what we have seen throughout the morning and early afternoon. Julie.
And Joe, this is Lou here. I have a question for you, just so our viewers kind of understand how we receive some of this information. There are official press conferences and interviews that have been done periodically, and then a lot of these tidbits that we've been able to get come from sources that we've been able to individually contact. I'm wondering, Joe, I know you've been there a few hours already this morning. Has there been any sort of press conference there or any sort of official information relayed from authorities? And if not, have you been told if they plan to at any point?
No, we have not. There has not been any press conference, Lou. Neither have we been told if they are planning to hold one to bring some transparency to our viewers, the reason that my photographer and I came down here to Green Isle again around 8:45 in the morning was because we heard on police scanners that potentially law enforcement had located a vehicle and had located this cowboy hat along the side of the road. So that's why my photographer and I made the 45 or so minute drive from the Twin Cities here up to Green Isle. But no, we have not heard any official word from law enforcement about the operations that they are conducting back there, or if they have found anything yet. And we have not been able to talk to anyone yet on if there is going to be some sort of official press conference later this evening, Lou.
All right, thanks, Joe. And it looks like at least a mile or two of Highway 25 is completely blocked off to the public down there.
All right, Joe.
Yeah, it's a large section. I can't give a great estimation. Oh, excuse me. I just want to say I can't give a great estimation of how large there is this section of Highway 25 that is blocked off, but it is a considerable amount, Lou, for sure.
All right, thanks, Joe.
Thank you, Joe. We'll check back in a little bit. We want to remind people that if you have any information, this is the tip line that's been set up by the BCA. If you know anything about Vance Belter, where he may be, have any information that could help them find him, there is a $50,000 reward right now from the FBI. So there is that tip line to call if you think you have any useful information in this case. It is going to, when they find him, it is going to be a great relief for so many people across the state, particularly our elected officials. We're really thinking about them today as this man who had a hit list with, as Lou said, 70 names on it, is still on the loose. So the large law enforcement presence, obviously understandable, especially when you consider the fact that he did open fire on officers when they came across him in Brooklyn Park. And that's such a massive area, not highly populated, but just so much ground to cover in Sibley County to look for this man. And it's a fascinating discovery this morning that what appears to be his cowboy hat was found on the side of the road on Highway 25. Lou, of course, everything in this day and age begets a conspiracy theory. But a lot of people questioning, really, that hat was just sitting there on the side of the highway, almost as if it was just planted there. It's just one of those things that as more information becomes available, answers will be forthcoming, I am sure.
But you know what? Also,
but it is stunning.
These images of him wearing the hat came out. He obviously didn't take any precaution to hide the vehicle he was in. It looks like he got out of the car, dropped the hat, and then went wherever he was going from there. Well,
and also, it's interesting to me that he went to a bank to withdraw money, which is where we understand we got those pictures from, where you see him in the hat. Obviously knew that he would be on security cameras if he's going to a bank.
And not just that, it is another contradiction, because if this was something that he planned out so thoroughly, why would he need to go withdraw money
ahead of time?
After doing these shootings? So again, somebody who's probably not thinking clearly, and
not a mastermind
when you try to make sense out of it, then that's when these contradictions come up, and that's why those conspiracy theories are not worth it, because you're not dealing with somebody who's thinking in a straight line.
Right. This is not a rational person that we are talking about. We have seen all kinds of theories and things online, but it is pretty stunning to me how much information actually the FBI and the BCA have released. Sometimes in these investigations, things go on for a very long time without them sharing any information at all.
I think it's that immediate danger to public safety.
Yeah.
People need to know what this guy looks like
and what he's capable of
in case he happens into their property. I mean, it's as simple as that.
And oftentimes in the situation where we were at the North Minneapolis property, after law enforcement had literally taken a battering ram and opened the front door and had searched that property, oftentimes in situations like that, the people who live in the house don't want to talk to us. We know even more because the man who says he's been best friends with Vance Belter since 4th grade was willing to talk.
Yeah.
And it was really moving to watch him when he was sitting on his front porch and he read out loud the last text that he had received from Belter. He got incredibly emotional. You can only imagine how confusing and upsetting this is for him as well, especially since he said he really hadn't talked about politics. This was not a guy that was constantly venting and ranting about what was going on, say at the state legislature or at the national level, or even on the subject of abortion.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure too, the best friend, it's not just, heartbreaking what happened to the victims to that guy. It's heartbreaking that somebody that he thought he knew so well would be capable of doing something like this, and nothing will ever be the same again.
Absolutely.